Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel Cosmic Path Tarot, and today's reading is going to be a very interesting one. Now, have you had a feeling lately that something you predicted a while ago is finally starting to happen? I want you to sit with that question for a second. Not answer it out loud, just sit with it. And think back. Was there a moment, say weeks ago, maybe longer, where some quiet part of you said something is shifting? And I can feel it, even though nothing around you had visibly changed yet. I'm asking this because these three cards are about to answer that question with more precision than I expected when I pulled them out. Comment I remember below right now if something just came to your mind. I want you to know what part of this reading lands for you. Now, I want to talk about a very specific kind of knowing before I flip these cards. There is a difference between hoping for something and predicting it. Hope feels uncertain, fragile, like something you are reaching for without confidence that it will arrive. Prediction feels different. Prediction is more quieter and more certain. It is a version of knowing that does not announce itself loudly. It just sits in the background of your mind as a fact that you have not fully processed yet. And at some point, and I think you already know roughly when, you've had one of those quiet predictions. Maybe about a relationship shifting, maybe about an opportunity, maybe just a general sense that the chapter you were in was ending and something else was beginning. Even though you could not have explained exactly what that something was, and then life got out loud again. Deadlines, responsibilities, distractions, the predictions got buried under the noise of everyday living. You stopped consciously thinking about it. But it did not stop being true. Now, these three cards are going to remind you of what you already know, or somewhere I feel you've had a sense of knowing these cards before I even take them out. The Six of Cups. This card is the seed of your prediction, the starting point, I'd say. The Six of Cups is one of the most tender cards in tarot. Two figures in a quiet courtyard, one offering a cup filled with flowers to the other. There is innocence in this image. I'd say familiarity. The feeling of something simple and true, untouched by the complications that come later in life. And this card showing up as the root of your prediction tells me something very specific. What you sensed back then was not born from analysis or overthinking. It was born from instinct. That quiet, almost childlike knowing that exists underneath all the layers of doubt and logic adults learn to apply to everything. You did not predict this because you calculated it. You predicted it because some simple, honest part of you just knew. Now, the Six of Cups also speaks to something connected to your past, giving you the information that your present self needed. Maybe a previous experience taught you what certain patterns feel like before they fully form. Maybe an old memory quietly informed your instinct without you consciously connecting the dots. Either way, the prediction you made was rooted in something real, something familiar, and something your own history had already shown you once before. You were not guessing, you were remembering forward. The Ace of Wands. And here it is, the thing you predicted beginning. Now, the Ace of Wands is one of the most electric cards in the entire deck. A hand emerging from a cloud, holding a single wand sprouting fresh green leaves. It somehow speaks pure creative spark and a pure new beginning energy, I'd say, completely unburdened by history or doubt or whatever it might have felt in the past. This is the card of ignition, of something starting that has real life force behind it. And appearing right after the Six of Cups, the message is direct. What you sensed quietly months ago has stopped being a feeling and started becoming a fact. The spark is lit. And whatever that prediction was about, whether a person, an opportunity, a shift in your circumstances, it is no longer dormant. It is actively beginning right now in real time, whether or not you have consciously noticed the early signs yet. The Ace of Wands also carries a very specific kind of urgency. Aces represent the rawest, earliest form of an energy. And before it has even been shaped or developed, this means what is beginning is still new enough that you have real influence over how it grows. And you are not arriving late to something already decided. You are standing right at the ignition point, which means your attention, your choices, your willingness to engage with what is starting, all of that genuinely matters right now. And the third card tells us something about the shape this beginning is taking. I also want you to look at these two cards together. The Six of Cups, which is the quiet instinct rooted in something familiar, and the Ace of Wands, the instinct now actively beginning, alive, igniting. What you sense has stopped being a feeling, it is becoming a fact. And the third card tells us something important about what the fact corrects. Justice reversed. Now, I want to be careful with this card because it is often misread. And in this position, it actually carries a very hopeful message, not a discouraging one. Justice upright means balance, fairness playing out exactly as it should, cause and effect aligning very cleanly. Now, the same justice reversed represents imbalance, a situation where something was not fair, where efforts and outcome did not match, and where you gave more than you received, or were judged unfairly, or simply experienced something that did not add up the way it should have. In most readings, justice reversed describes a current problem. But here, justice reversed has come out as a third card. Now, in most readings, justice reversed describes a current problem. But here, as the third card in this very specific sequence, following the Six of Cups and the Ace of Wands, it is describing something different. It is naming the imbalance that what is currently beginning is going to correct. And think about it this way, your original prediction, rooted in the Six of Cups, likely came from noticing something unfair and a pattern that was not serving you, a situation where the scales had tipped into another direction that did not feel right to you. The Ace of Wands beginning now is not arriving randomly. It is arriving specifically to rebalance what justice reversed has been pointing to. Now, this is why your prediction is coming true now and not earlier. The imbalance had to be fully felt and fully recognized by you before the correction could even begin. The Ace of Wands could not ignite while the old imbalance was still being maintained. Something had to shift internally in you, in your awareness, your boundaries, and also see your willingness to stop accepting things that was not fair to you before the new beginning and room to actually take place and hold. What is coming is not just new, it is corrective. It is the universe's way of saying that this time the scales tip back in your favor. Now, let me put all of this together for you. Months ago, something simple and honest in you noticed an imbalance, a situation that was not fair, that did not add up the way it should have. And that noticing planted a new quiet prediction. Not loud, not certain in words, but real. That prediction has been sitting underneath the noise of everyday life, waiting. And now, right now, it is igniting. The Ace of Wands sparks it as lit. What you sensed is becoming real and it is arriving, specifically to correct what the justice reversed identified as unfair. You were not imagining things, you were not being overly hopeful or reading too much into small signs. You sensed something true and it took the time it needed to fully form. And just to tell you, it is forming now. If something in this reading made you remember the exact moment you had that quiet prediction, comment below and tell me what it was about. Whether it was about love, career, a relationship shifting, anything. I want to know what you remembered. If someone in your life has been waiting for something they once quietly sensed was coming, share this with them. Sometimes people need permission to trust what they already know. Follow Cosmic Path Tarot for readings every week. The right message always finds the right person at exactly the right moment. You were right, it is happening. Take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next one.